Quick test just to see if the headphones are working. All right. I'm going to do that again. That was pretty poor. Welcome. Welcome to this congregation. We are the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Lower Bucks. My name's Bill Appleton, and I'll be your lay leader for today's service. Before getting started, I have a couple quick announcements. One is that next Sunday is the last day to drop off food for the food bank, so please remember to bring the food. And also, we have a great volunteer opportunity coming up at the United Way, so I just want to bring up Rich Kelly real quick.
Oh, yes. The first Saturday of October, we're going to have a little... The first Saturday in October, we're going to have a little outreach project, and that is to help the United Way of Bucks County. There's a center called the Help Center, and basically if you don't, if things are not going well and you really need to, just items, all kinds of items, produce, chairs, anything from one place to the other. And if you need that kind of stuff, this is a place to get it, and they open their doors up to people, and they need help. And we're going to provide some help by organizing stuff, dealing with their inventory, making it so they can distribute. That's it. And we have a sign up for this. So please see me. And if you want to know more, I have these two right after service.
All right. So I want everybody to take a moment and engage, ponder this. How will today's message in word and song fuel your own spiritual journey? As a welcoming congregation, we strive to embrace our spiritual curiosity by each one of us seeking our own personal truth as we each live out our core value of love. Whether you're new or just visiting or a friend or member of long-standing, thank you for being present today. We hope it feels welcoming, and we hope you feel at home. The September Soul Matters theme is building belonging, which is going to be beautiful because it ties in so well to our offertory, which we'll get to later. Most of us think that belonging as the sense of fitting in or feeling like you're an important member of a group. It's a feeling of security and support with a sense of acceptance, inclusion, and identity. As humans, our greatest desire is to know and to be known, to love and to be loved, and to feel confident that those who know and love us will be there through good times as well as bad. Belonging is a feeling of feeling seen, feeling connected, feeling supported, and feeling proud. Without belonging, we can feel alone and lost. So this month, we are working on building belonging in our congregation and hope you will explore some of the thoughts and concepts brought forth by each of our speakers. And I invite you to be welcoming to all that come into the UUFLB. All right, now I would like to invite Avni Wisnia up to light our chalice while I read the opening words. Welcome, friends, newcomers, old-timers, seekers, skeptics, saints of habit, and rebels of the heart. Here we gather not because we think the same, but we choose to journey together. Belonging is not something given. It is something that we build with open hands and open hearts. It's made in the sharing of stories, the holding of silences, the courage to show up as you are. Here we practice a radical hospitality, not of perfection, but of persistence. May we make this place a shelter for the soul, a workshop for justice, a sanctuary where love is not merely spoken but lived, deeply again in trust and hope, in the spirit of belonging. And that was from the Reverend Dr. David Breeden. And now, I'm going to introduce you to our award-winning musician, Avi, and he's going to give us a musical prelude, When You're Smiling by Louis Armstrong.
In the spirit of the sermon today, which will talk about joy, I hope that this song certainly brings you a little smile this morning. So we're going to start off today with a little bit of jazz. And certainly, as always, whether you are here in this room or on this Zoom, feel free to sing along. When you're smiling, when you're smiling, the whole world smiles with you. When you're laughing, the sun comes shining through. But when you're crying, you bring on the rain, so stop your sighing. Be happy again, keep on smiling, 'cause when you're smiling, the whole world smiles with you. Let's sing it one more time. When you're smiling, the whole world smiles with you. When you're laughing, the sun comes shining through. But when you're crying, you bring on the rain, so stop your sighing. Be happy again, keep on smiling, 'cause when you're smiling, the whole world smiles with you. I said the whole world smiles with you.
Thank you, Avi. That was wonderful. Speaking of wonderful, today's speaker is the Reverend Dr. Neal Jones. We welcome the Reverend Neal Jones on Zoom. He is a psychologist and has served as the minister of 5 congregations in North and South Carolina, Texas, and Pennsylvania, most recently at the Mainline Unitarian Church near Philadelphia. His sermon title today is The Discipline of Joy. With this introduction, I'm not as certain as I used to be that seeing is believing. I'm more inclined to think that believing is seeing, that we see what we're looking for. So if so, then it may make sense to think of joy more as a discipline than a happenstance. And now, for the message of all ages, I'm going to introduce Esther Miller.
Good morning, everybody. Today I'm going to read The Circles All Around Us, written by Brad Montague. I'm going to read the introduction, or the message in the beginning. It says, "For all the kids making the world better right where they are." We begin by drawing a circle on the ground around each shoe. A safe little place for just one person. Nobody in this circle but you. You could keep that circle closed to everyone but yourself, but that would be like a library with just one book on the shelf. So let's draw a bigger circle for you and your family to share. Now you can see what all can happen in a circle full of care. It becomes a happier circle as more loved ones come to stay. And wouldn't it be even better if all your friends could come in to play? So you stretch and draw your circle even bigger than it's been, and let a few more people know that they're welcome to come in. In the circles all around us, everywhere that we go, there's a difference we can make and a love we can all show. Yet there are still so many outside the circle who are different in all they do, though it feels slightly uncomfortable. This page, I just want to show this one. It has hello in a lot of different languages, and I don't know how to read all of them either, so it's a little bit uncomfortable. We draw a bigger circle for them too. It doesn't mean the circle is easy. It can get harder the more we share. Now there's a couple people here. It says, I only like singing. I only like sports. I only wear dresses. I like old comfy shorts. I'm team cake. I'm team pie. I'm really outgoing. I'm quiet and shy. But wonderful things can happen when love is known and felt everywhere. Friendship donuts! As time passes, our eyes open, we see others we really care for. And that's when we ask ourselves, well, what's this circle really there for? So let us create bigger circles all around us for the rest of our days. Let our caring ripple out in a million little ways. In the circles all around us, everywhere that we go, there's a difference we can make and a love we can all show. As our circles grow and grow, and we watch them wonder-eyed, circle the whole world. Remember, the first circle started with just the love you hold inside.
Thank you, Esther. That was wonderful. All right. Please join me in singing the children off to their religious exploration class. We're going to sing Go Now in Peace.
Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the love of us surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go.
Now, I'd like to welcome the Reverend Dr. Neal Jones with a reading for this morning.
Thank you, Bill, and good morning, everyone. It's so good to be with you again. Our opening reading this morning comes from the Reverend Gretchen Haley, who writes, "Come in, all who long to learn how to love this world, how to keep eyes open, hands unclenched, arms wide. This is the time to practice, because there is still so much good and beauty and joy. And it can be hard to keep telling this tale with all the news and the wind and the rain. Come in, all who teeter on this edge of cynicism, brokenhearted, and still trying to remember laughter and kindness, and the chance to be alive in these days when so much is at stake. In this place, we remind each other why we persist, giving each other courage to take this path that is not always easy, to keep practicing this love that cannot, that will not let us go. Come, let us worship together.
musician, Avi.
The artist Bobby McFerrin is a noted a cappella artist, which means that he very often will compose songs using no instruments and just his voice. And I've had really good fortune to be able to see him live and to see him do this live and improvise with a bunch of voices and even the audience doing the voices. And it's really incredible. And so he has a hit song, and it's one of the few hit songs that you would hear on the radio with no instruments. And that in itself brings a lot of joy when you just hear voices sounding like instruments. And this song is pure joy. And this is one that I think you'll know. And I'll sing the refrain that you can join in. Even if you've never heard the song, it's easy to catch on to. It goes like this. Do, 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 do. Try that. Do, 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 do. Here's a little song I wrote. I'm gonna sing it note for note. Don't worry, be happy. In every life we have some trouble, but when you worry, you make it double. Don't worry, be happy. Let's sing it now. Do, 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 do. Ain't got no cash, ain't got no style, ain't got nobody to make you smile, but don't worry, be happy. Ain't got no place to lay your head, somebody came in, took your bed, now don't worry, be happy. Do, 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 do.
Let us welcome back the Reverend Dr. Neal Jones with this sermon, The Discipline of Joy.
Thank you, Avi. I always enjoy the music you select. Is there a difference between happiness and joy? Now, I may be splitting semantic hairs, but let me make this observation. By the way, I do enjoy examining the root meanings of words. The word happiness comes from the Icelandic root hap, which means chance or luck. It forms the roots of the words happen, happening, happenstance, hapless, and haphazard. All these words, including happiness, have to do with things that happen by chance or luck. We're happy when something good happens by happenstance. Happiness is dependent on external circumstances. You win the lottery. You receive a birthday card. There's 1 cup of coffee left in the coffee pot in the foyer when you're the last in line. Now, joy is also somewhat dependent on the element of surprise. The unexpected happens. But there is, I think, an added element to joy. In addition to an external stimulus, joy also involves an internal state of mind, an attitude of openness, a willingness to be entranced. Joy is a choice. Now, all of us have known an Eeyore, someone who will stubbornly snatch doom and gloom from the jaws of joy. The whole world around them could be coming up roses, and all they can see are thorns. Lincoln put it this way: most folks are as happy as they make up their minds to be. Eeyores have made up their minds to be miserable, to accentuate the negative, whatever the circumstances. Now, I'm not talking about people who suffer from depression. That's a whole different animal. Depression is not a choice. No one chooses to be depressed. Depression is not feeling sadness over loss or disappointment. It's a malfunctioning of neurochemistry. The brain doesn't produce sufficient amounts of certain neurotransmitters, and the effects can be debilitating. It feels like being stuck in a hole, and no matter how hard you try, you can't climb your way out. Thankfully, medicine and psychotherapy can usually help. But if you suffer from depression, what doesn't help is someone trying to cheer you up, telling you to smile, encouraging you to get over it, or telling you how much better you have it compared to those starving children in Africa. And that's not what I'm doing this morning. I'm speaking this morning to those of us whose brain chemistry is functioning as it should. Well, more or less. And my point is simply this: joy is a choice. Now, I'm not saying that life doesn't have its misfortunes, setbacks, heartbreaks, tragedies, and injustices. And I'm not suggesting that you should ignore them. What I am saying is that in addition to life's darkness, there are also wonders and delights, treasures and pleasures, miracles and blessings all around us, if we but had the eyes to see them. Now, the skies have their storm clouds, no question about it. But the universe also showers us with gifts unearned, unmerited, and unexpected all the time. The greatest gift being life itself, the privilege of just being here. So I'm not encouraging you this morning to shut your eyes to anything, but to open them to everything. Now, I'll be the first to admit that under some circumstances, you have to strain to see the rays of light through the clouds. But they are there. They are always there. For example, you could be a prisoner. Now, it's hard to imagine finding any joy in prison unless you're someone like John S., a member of the Church of the Larger Fellowship, which is a congregation without walls. CLF is the largest UU congregation in the world, connecting members around the globe online for spiritual growth, worship, learning, and mutual support. Many of its members are inmates, such as John S., who recorded this day in prison. He writes, "Shortly after I watched the full moon slide behind the trees on the ridge outside my jail cell, Dusty, a young tabby cat, made his morning rounds, meowing to everyone he met what sounded to me a lot like, 'Good morning.' That was a great start to a day that got even better. As I walked to the mess hall, I spotted 2 killdeer on the ground, apparently hunting for bugs before the sun came up. Instead of flying away, as I expected, they continued on their mission, ignoring my presence. I've never been that close to killdeer before. Classy elegance. To crown an already wonderful day, my favorite red-tailed hawk appeared, alighting atop one of his favorite perches, a utility pole near the ridge. He spread his wings wide, holding them at their limit momentarily, as if he knew I were watching and wanted to acknowledge my presence. Feathered majesty. It's hard to believe that anyone had a more joyous day than I. Now that was John S., a prison inmate. Most folks are as happy as they make up their minds to be. Making up your mind to be joyful is what I would call a spiritual discipline. Now, I realize that discipline is not a favorite word of Unitarians. We like freedom and tolerance and believe what you want and do as you please. But discipline doesn't have to be a bad word. It shares the same root as disciple, which is a student, and discipline is a subject of study. If you want to learn and grow, you have to be intentional and committed and willing to exert some effort. You have to be disciplined. Cultivating the spiritual practice of experiencing joy requires the intention of looking for the blessing surrounding us and the effort of focusing our attention on them. And if anyone needs to develop the discipline of joy, we Unitarians do, because we tend to be so earnest about whatever we do, especially social action. We are typically on the front lines, fighting for rights and protesting wrongs, protecting the vulnerable and rescuing the victim. Being concerned about social justice can make you angry. And there's a lot to be angry about these days. Anger can set you on fire. But like any fire, if it's not managed, it can consume you. Anger cannot be the sole source of our social action. Our activism has to come from a wellspring of joy for the sake of the causes for which we advocate and for the sake of our own souls. Emma Goldman, an avid social activist of her day, had the right attitude when she said, "If I can't dance, I don't want to be a part of your revolution." Our world already has a surplus of anger. The new world we're hoping to build will be no better than the old one if it's built on anger. I don't know about you, but I want to live in a world where we can sing and laugh and dance together. Most folks are as happy as they make up their minds to be. What does it take to make up our minds to be joyful? I think it requires us to drop some attitudes and to adopt some attitudes. Some attitudes we need to drop come from our Puritan ancestors. Now, the founders of any group, whether it be a family, a nation, or a religion, cast a long shadow over its history and development. The Puritans were foundational in setting the course of America, and believe it or not, of Unitarian Universalism. and they cast long shadows over our understanding of joy that live to this day. First, they believe that this world is fallen, broken, irredeemable, and that joy is reserved for the next life in heaven. They viewed pleasure and gratification as sinful, and pain and misery as being like cleanliness next to godliness. Do you know H.L. Mencken's definition of a Puritan? He said that a Puritan is someone who is deathly afraid that someone somewhere is having fun. Some of us feel guilty whenever we feel good. We need to drop that attitude. In addition, the Puritans bequeathed to us the Protestant work ethic. They believed that wealth and success were signs of God's favor. And so they had a religious incentive to work hard, be frugal, and save. Now, that religious incentive may have died out, but that work ethic is alive and well in our society, and it has morphed into a workaholism that compels us to be forever busy, productive, efficient, and never take a break. The cardinal sin of workaholism is leisure time, because that's wasting time. As I've noted in an earlier sermon, we Americans work longer hours and take less vacation time than our European counterparts. Yet, experiencing joy requires wasting time in the sense of making time to enjoy your life. Some of us are so busy making a living that we're not enjoying our living. You can't smell the roses if every minute of every day is scheduled with some job, some project, some activity. Joy needs space in our calendars before it can find space in our hearts. If we want to experience more joy in our lives, we also need to drop our attachment to our expectations. You can have it your way, maybe the slogan for Burger King, but it should be our national motto, because that's the way we really feel about life. We've been taught to believe that if you go to the right schools, work hard, play by the rules, and make your plans, then life will turn out to be the way you planned it. Well, Buddhism teaches us the fallacy of this way of thinking. It teaches us the wisdom of detachment. Now, when I first discovered Buddhist teachings years ago, I misunderstood the meaning of detachment. I thought it meant being apathetic or resigning yourself to the way things are. Detachment, however, doesn't mean that you stop caring or become passive and stop working for change. It simply means that you accept reality. The attitude of detachment is captured by the serenity prayer. Grant me the courage to change the things I can, the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, and the wisdom to know the difference. When a situation is not the way I like it, I have two choices. Either I can change it, if that's possible, or I can change my attitude toward the situation and accept it. You don't have to like reality in order to accept it. If you become attached to your expectations of the way things are supposed to be, then you set yourself up to be continually disappointed and frustrated and angry, because life hardly ever turns out the way we expect it to. For example, I could plan a trip to the beach and expect it to be sunny every day. And if it rains and I'm attached to my expectations, I'll judge my whole vacation to be shot and it'll be miserable the whole time. But if I can practice detachment, I can accept the reality of the weather, which is going to change whatever my wishes and expectations. And then I'll be open to the possibility of other ways to enjoy my vacation, like reading a book, seeing a movie, playing board games with my friends, having good conversations, or listening to the gentle music of raindrops on the window. Expectations of the way things have to be do not allow room for joy, because joy depends on the unexpected. If we want to experience more joy in our lives, there are some things we have to drop and some things we have to adopt. One thing that would be helpful to adopt when joy has escaped you is a good memory. Remember those things that gave you joy in the past, because in the busyness of the day-to-day, we sometimes forget what gives us joy. Remember your first kiss. Remember that conversation that went deep into the night. Remember your wedding day. Remember your divorce. Remember when your child first called your name. Remember when you finally spoke your truth. Remember the last time you ate chocolate. Remember, so that you can turn toward those things that give you joy. Another thing to adopt is a set of binoculars. Now, binoculars focus our attention on particular things. This world is a treasure trove of blessings, but you have to develop the discipline of looking for them, because sometimes they're not so visible. I remember something said by Fred Rogers, the Mr. Rogers of PBS fame. He said, "When I was a boy and I would see scary things in the news, my mother would say to me, 'Look for the helpers. You will always find people who are helping.'" His mother was teaching him at an early age to use binoculars. Maybe that's one reason he became such a positive person who helped so many of us growing up to look for joy. A set of binoculars I began using a few years ago was keeping a gratitude list. Every night before I go to bed, I write down a list of 5 things, just 5 things, that I'm grateful for, which happened during the day. They're usually small things: a cup of fresh brewed coffee in the morning, a funny Facebook post, another driver letting me in the line of traffic. It doesn't matter if they're great or small, because I feel grateful for them nonetheless. But what I've noticed about the discipline of keeping a gratitude list is that it has caused me to develop the discipline of paying attention to those moments of joy that occur throughout my day. And I've discovered that no matter how dark the day is, those sparkling moments are always present. Always. And finally, if we wish to have more joy in our lives, I think it's important that we join the right team. I agree with Sonia Tinsley, a singer, songwriter, and activist in Atlanta, who says you have to pick your team. She says, "It seems to me that there are 2 teams in this world, and that you can find evidence to support the arguments of both. The trademark of one team is cynicism. They'll tell you why what you're doing doesn't matter, why nothing is going to change, why no matter how hard you work, you're going to fail. They seem to get satisfaction out of explaining how we'll always have injustice. You can't change human nature, they say. It's foolish to try. From their experience, they may be right. But then there's another group of people who admit that they don't know how things will turn out either, but who've decided to work for change. I see Bobby Kennedy on that team. Now, she was referring to Bobby Kennedy Sr. I see Bobby Kennedy on that team, and Alice Walker, and Howard Zinn. They're telling stories of faith being rewarded, of ways things can be different, of how their own lives have changed. They'll give you reasons why you shouldn't give up, testimonials why we've yet to see our full potential as a species. They believe that change is really possible. Now, there are times when both teams seem right. Both have evidence. We'll never know who's really going to prevail. So I just have to decide which team seems happier, which side I'd rather be on. And for me, that means choosing the side of faith. Because on the side of cynicism, even if they're right, who wants to win that argument anyway? If I'm going to stick with somebody, I'd rather stick with people who have a sense of possibility and hope. I just know that's the side I want to be on. To which I say, me too. And that's why I've decided to be on this team. Amen.
Oh, thank you, Reverend Neal Jones. You actually, I can't believe you did this whole thing just for me, because, I spent, I think, a lot of my life from childhood on. I think I think just been trained through discipline to look at things a little bit negative, and trying now as I get older to be more joyful. Anyway, I mentioned our offertory earlier on. Our offertory for September and October, the shared plate recipient is NAMI, the National Alliance for Mental Illness. NAMI, well, first off, before I even get into that, I do want to say in March and April last year, we raised $977 that we sent them, so let's try to beat that this year. But anyway, NAMI's mission is to offer help and hope to all those affected by mental illness, and it's one that touches just about everyone. They raise awareness of mental illness and reduce the stigma through the message, "You are not alone," which ties into our belonging. Thank you for your generosity. Now, thank you for your generosity. Very much appreciated. All right. Now is our time in our service when we recognize one another and lift each other up in love. Please come to the microphone and share your joy or sorrow. Please be brief, and I'm going to actually start today. I have a joy and a concern. My joy is I've been mentioned just about every week there's a podcast, Legends of Bodybuilding, And my book has been mentioned just about every week, and I sold 2 books just in the last 3 days. Hoo-hoo. My concern, and some of you saw this on Facebook, so I apologize, but I've given up Disney Plus, and I'm a Marvel guy from the very beginning. I was raised on Marvel Comics. I was there day one with Disney Plus, and it's a hard thing to do, but with the firing of Jimmy Kimmel, a show that I've never seen, but you know, I just feel my love for Marvel is not as important as my love for country, so that's the reason I've had to give it up, but I'm very angry about it and feeling very, because I really love those TV shows. But anyway, please come on up. Okay, come on, can't just have me the joys and concerns. All right.
Hi, I'm Nancy. Mine seems frivolous, but I couldn't leave Bill all by himself. So, but I want to say that, you know, in this congregation, the people you meet and the people you get to know do form who you are. I mean, it's any group you go to, of course, but I found this group to be a special influence for me, and even interest, you know. Some people here are very musical. Avi, of course, came to us because of people who were here. His family introduced us to Avi, and what a blessing. And so a lot of people here are really into music. I can't say as I really was terribly, but I got the pleasure of Friday spending the day with Colleen, a member, and being at XPN for a music fest that I never really cared about, but we had so much fun. We were surrounded by music. It was great music. It was great to be with her. And so those are the kind of connections you kind of make. And the music really mattered. It really made me happy. It made me have a great night. So surround yourself with music, something that makes you happy. And thanks, Avi, for your earlier rendition. And it does make you smile.
All right. Well, whether or not you shared today, and thank you for sharing, Nancy. For your joys, we in this community join you in celebration, and for any sorrows and concerns, may you feel our sympathy and compassion. And I just want to add that since coming here, I think that's helped me try to restart reprogramming myself into making joy more of a discipline. So thank you to the congregation, and now we'll turn it over to, I think it's Avi. It is? Good, thank you. Blessed Spirit of God.
Yes, let's join in community in singing together. Blessed Spirit of my life. Blessed Spirit of my life, give me strength through stress and strife. Help me live with dignity. Let me know serenity. Fill me with a vision. Clear my mind of fear and confusion. When my thoughts flow restlessly, let peace find a home in me.
Thank you. Please join me in a responsive reading. Any second now. It's almost there. That's the responsive reading. That's what we've been waiting for. All right. Thank you kindly. All right. Let us join together in the spirit of prayer and meditation. As we come here from the circles of our everyday lives, may we put behind us all those thoughts and worries which prevent us from being truly present. As we ground ourselves in each other, as we give root and trunk, branch and leaf to this sacred work, to our shared and sharing lives. May we dance joyful this day in each other's moment, like brilliant fall leaves in the swirl of an autumn breeze. Amen and blessed be. Now for our closing song. Please rise in body and spirit. For hymn number 95, There Is More Love Somewhere.
There is more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more love somewhere. There's more hope. There is more hope somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more hope somewhere. Peace. There is more peace somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more peace somewhere. There is joy. There is more joy somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more joy somewhere.
Okay, extinguish the chalice. The way is often hard. Take courage, for deep down there is another truth. You are not alone. That's the Reverend Wayne B. Arneson. Our service is concluded. For those of you on Zoom, thank you for joining us today. We hope to see you again online or here next week. And meanwhile, I'd really like to thank the Reverend Dr. Neal Jones, who's given me and all of us, I think, a lot to think about, and for his wonderful sermon today. For those who are here, please join us in the cafeteria for coffee, fellowship, and conversation. Go now in peace. Amen, and blessed be. Thank you.